Hello, ladies, and welcome to week 3. I knew I was going to be an unconventional teacher, but life always surprises me too. So, this next week was meant to be about shadow work. I am super in the space to do that. Let me say first and foremost, this is technically like a week or so off or whatever. Who knew I would be playing this by ear? I originally had a goal of sitting in front of the backdrop and doing videos for you guys, and they were going to be like perfected and well lit and all that stuff because I used to be a professional photographer and I have the equipment and stuff. But then I realized I was doing the same thing I did when I became a wedding photographer. I got into wedding photography um, after a synchronistic event. I went to have pictures taken of my kids and my family, and their camera was down that day. But I noticed they were hiring, so I filled out the application. This was in December. I did not get to do the pictures, and I did not get the call back, so I went about my business. But they ended up calling back in February, and I got the job there. Anyways, I got obsessed with photography, so much so that I ended up getting fired from there because I was using the camera on my break to take pictures of myself. I even had my family come and take pictures one time, but I ended up paying for them, so it was a lot. But either way, I fell in love with photography. But when I got to Atlanta, because that was in Baltimore, I got to Atlanta and I got my own camera. And I started doing shoots, but along the way, I would take everybody's advice. And with every person's advice, I would mold a different part of myself to fit what I felt like I needed to be based upon what they just said. For example, I started straightening my hair because I think maybe that's just something subconsciously that we do as African American people. The first thing you do, I went to literally the freaking hair cuttery and got it cut and layered, and it was all like prim and proper. Um, then I had this lady tell me I had to dress a certain way, so I went and got like an expensive dress. $100 at the time was a lot for a fucking dress for me. I mean, it still is, because like, why, right? It was lame, Brian. I got that, and I got this because I can only afford that one because I was doing weddings and I was talented, but I wasn't charging a lot because I could not see making people spend thousands of dollars for just photo. It just like in my mind and where I was in life, it wasn't the same way I feel about readings. Like I charge a certain amount, but I don't feel right saying that only rich people can receive help or receive beautiful photos. So I guess there we go. Shadow work again, noticing your dots. And I'm walking you through this on my end because I notice that me figuring out me helps me help other people figure out themselves. I don't know if it's the Mercury in first or just like it's the rhythm of things, but you can lead yourself through your patterns, and that is what shadow work is. Um, it is taking things that hurt your feelings, that trigger you, that make you upset, things that even make you numb. If you're the type of person who doesn't feel very much, this could be somebody who has like moon in 12th that could have this problem. But I am going to go through shadow work with you guys in a way that helps to empower you because that's what this is about. Last week we did light work. Light work was noticing what things make you happy. What do you do to feed your life? What did you put in there? You also got a chance to look at your routine and see what's going on and sort of what you wanted to do with yourself and where you're at. This part is going to be the basis of, excuse me, your magic. Um, because recognizing your own light by gravitating like a moth to a flame to the things that you enjoy is going to feed you and help reinforce positivity in you. Shadow work is going to take the parts of yourself that have been beaten, battered, bruised, and bring them to the forefront and let them, I don't want to say heal, just put them back in their place because they've been tucked away. So I guess to make you full again. So say you are scrolling down your timeline and you see a post that feels like somebody just hit you in your chest. This was meant for you, but it makes you angry. You're going to feel a reaction. Take note of where you feel your reaction when you're angry. That is where your power emanates from. And it gives you some idea of where your astral gifts are. Because, say, for instance, when I get angry, I feel it in my hands and my feet. These are also your, what is it, 11th chakras, your feet and your hands. That's where my energy shoots. So when I get mad, now I know. to think about my hands. Then I talk myself through what it is. Okay, so why has this upset me? All right. When did this pattern begin? When have I felt like this before? What has this feeling caused me to do before? What is it making me feel like now? What is the real reason I am upset? Like it really is about questioning yourself. It's like if you were to come to yourself for advice, say, do you notice how you're ever able to give somebody else really good advice, but when it comes to yourself, you're like Stevie Wonder? So after you get to the bottom of these questions, you are able to just take a deep breath and release that energy towards your greatest good and just visualize it coming out forever. When my daughter gets anxious or upset, her heart starts beating too fast for her. She has several planets in the 6th house. In Virgo, by the way. So a lot of anxiety. So her space is her heart space. So now I have her picture a tornado with all the excess energy that she has, and I make a bigger spiral out of her heart, and then send that love up into the atmosphere or direct it to somewhere. That is how you transmute. That is how you transmute your shadows psychologically through your mind, creating new pathways, and physically, you understanding that even though you don't see your power here, it still exists. In sex magic, and we're going to get into this down the line. In sex magic, you can direct your orgasms towards your intention. This works for money. I found out it's especially better if you're an entrepreneur. Or a waitress or somebody who has a job where your money can levitate day by day. If you are someone who is stepping out into entrepreneurship or getting into healing or doing a business like this, sex magic. Great. This might be TMI, but it's never TMI, whatever, you need to know these things. I spiced mine up recently when I was doing a solo sex working. I did my candle and all that stuff first, and I dedicated the energy of the orgasm to the candle. And when I was done, because like literally it robs you of your orgasm, like you have it, but you can't feel it, like it's sucked into the nethers. The candle did a flame, it like popped when the energy went into it. So it really is great that you take note of your results as well, because remember, the energy you put out is what you're getting in. If you feel inside like you are not worth anything, somehow along the way you're going to keep running into people that make you feel like you're not worth anything, so that you sit with it and wonder, when did I start feeling like this? And then you start changing your mind about your worth. Sometimes you get pushed down so far that you have no choice but to say, hey, even I don't fucking deserve that. You know what I mean? Because the universe is always working in balance to what you need. And it's wild, but I saw somebody had a question and they wanted to know why they were so irritable about everything. Because you're unhappy. You're not doing what you want to. This world forces us to do so many things and pick up so many pieces, like what I was saying earlier about how I was molding myself to fit a job. In this life, we mold ourselves for employers when we have to work for other people, for our parents, so we don't disappoint them. If you're an older sibling, or if you're a sibling, or you have children, you're always trying to make yourself something because somebody needs you to be anything. Many times we forget, what do you need to be to yourself? Because this is your vehicle. How do you survive if this isn't okay? And that's really what I was going to doing this past week. You can see my little trash pile over there. I'm semi-ashamed, whatever. It was like a lot of emotions, because I've been on this journey for quite some time now. I was like the last 3 years, like really heavy as far as shadow work and all that stuff. Before, I was just like in hell emotionally. All of my life, I was like the Joker, really. Just in a really dark space. But stuff comes up now and I know what to do with it. I knew immediately, like, it's okay if I'm late. Sometimes this happens. I'm doing a wild job. This is beautiful and crazy, but I know, like, I just got the message this week that, like, you guys are spiritual warriors and you will be training so that you're able to fight in the astral. This is spiritual warfare. That's what this academy is going to be. Now, the other videos that I do, the ones that are in the academy after you guys get to go free and click and learn as you want to, I'll do those in front of the backdrop and do those really professional, so that they'll always be there forever. And that'll be that way. But I think you guys have sort of inspired me to do it this way, so we can converse back and forth and it feels more personal. I don't, want to be that kind of teacher. I don't want this to be dry because this is about emotions. We're going to talk about some raw stuff. Um, Shadow work is your goal this week. And by that, I mean, it's in your daily life. You don't have to set up a time to do it specifically, although it is probably good if you've had a rough week in general. But if you take note of things as they happen to you throughout the day, maybe get a little journal. So if something made you happy that day or something excited you and you look forward to it, write that down as light so you remember you have your light work. If something triggers you or upsets you in any way, shape, or form, or makes you feel a lower vibration, put that under shadow work. Do that with your activities. Do that with what you eat. Because remember, I sent you the information for you guys to start thinking about your diet and your daily habits and those things. Because you cannot, hold on, how about this? Your manifestations are only as good as the conduits, the human they're coming out of. If your body is not in good shape, say for instance, you have a car, you're thinking of a car, your body is a car. If you're fueling it with like sugar in the tank instead of like premium petroleum or whatever, it's not going to work that good. If you don't tune up your car, if you don't get out into nature, if you don't exercise, if you don't meditate, whatever your meditation is, you cannot control your magic as well. Being able to put yourself in a trance, which is something that we're going to get into next week. We're going to start on the fundamentals for manifesting. The next set of videos I'm about to do, because I'm gonna do these 2 weeks like back to back, y'all. So we just are good to go. But the basis is you, your relationship with yourself. This is not about your relationship with anybody else, which is the greatest thing. You are your hero and your enemy. You are facing this. So your homework for this week, take note of your light and your shadow and how you feel at the end of the week after you started taking back your power, started transmuting it. When you have your high moments, remember to write down what ideas you're inspired by. Those will lead you to what your true passion is, because nobody has to work for anybody else. We all have something unique that we can give, or a team that we belong to that is still giving something unique to the world, because that's what we're here for. We're here to enjoy each other, but as individuals. So this was my shadow work. Dealing with my feelings, my Pisces 8th house. Every time the moon or the sun or anything is in Pisces in my 8th house, a lot of old stuff comes up. And I think for all of us, this Pisces energy is very... So I am going to end this video. That is your activity for this week. I'm going to give you all some information for some other sources that I want you to look into. I'm actually going to recommend a book for us to get started on. And then the next week will be some cool stuff as we start to get into learning protections and all that sort of stuff. Thanks, guys.